Let's dive. JustProfessor here. You see someone do something wrong and judge them instantly. But when you do the exact same thing, you have a good reason. You're different. You're not like them. Except you are. You're exactly like them. Your brain just won't let you see it because it's too busy convincing you that you're morally superior to everyone around you. This is called self-righteous bias, and it's one of the most toxic things your brain does. You constantly overestimate your own goodness while underestimating everyone else's. You think your mistakes are justified, but other people's mistakes are character flaws. You cut yourself endless slack while holding everyone else to impossible standards. And the worst part? You genuinely believe you're being fair. You genuinely believe you're one of the good ones, but you're not. You're just biased in your own favor, and you can't even see it. So what is self-righteous bias? It's when you judge yourself by your intentions but judge everyone else by their actions. When you mess up, you think about all the context, all the reasons why you had to do it, all the circumstances that made it okay. But when someone else messes up, you don't care about their reasons. You just see what they did and decide they're a bad person. Here's a perfect example. You're driving. Someone cuts you off. What do you think? You think they're a jerk, they're reckless, they're a terrible driver. But what if you cut someone off? Well, that's different. You were in a hurry. You didn't see them. You made a mistake. Anyone could have done it. See the difference? Same action. But when they do it, they're bad. When you do it, it's understandable. This happens in every part of your life. You're late to a meeting. It's because traffic was bad, your alarm didn't go off, something came up. You had reasons. But when your coworker is late, they're disrespectful. They don't care. They're unprofessional. You never think, maybe they had traffic too. You just assume the worst about them while giving yourself the benefit of the doubt. Or think about arguments. When you say something hurtful, you didn't mean it. You were upset. You were misunderstood. But when someone says something hurtful to you, they meant it. They wanted to hurt you. They're cruel. You judge their words at face value, but you judge your words by what you intended, not what you actually said. Self-righteous bias makes you think you're more honest, more generous, more hardworking, and more moral than you actually are. Studies show that when people are asked to rate themselves on things like honesty or kindness, almost everyone rates themselves above average. But that's statistically impossible. Not everyone can be above average. Most people are average by definition. But your brain refuses to accept that you might be just another average person. It insists you're special. You're better. Here's where this gets really dangerous. Self-righteous bias makes you blind to your own flaws. You can see everyone else's problems clearly. You know exactly what they're doing wrong. But when it comes to yourself, nothing. You're perfect. Or, if you do admit to flaws, they're always small ones. Surface-level stuff. I work too hard. I care too much. You never admit to the real problems because your brain won't let you see them. This destroys relationships, because you're constantly holding your partner to standards you don't hold yourself to. They forget to do something, and you're upset. You forget to do something, and it's no big deal. They snap at you, and they're being mean. You snap at them, and you were just having a bad day. You're keeping score, but the score is rigged in your favor. And they feel it. They see the double standard, and it builds resentment. Self-righteous bias also makes you a terrible judge of character, because you assume bad actions come from bad people. Someone does something you disagree with, and you write them off completely. You don't think maybe they have different information, or maybe they're struggling with something I don't know about. You just think they're wrong, they're bad, and you're better than them. Meanwhile, you do questionable things all the time, but it's fine because you're a good person deep down. Let me give you another example. Donating to charity. You donate $50 and you feel like a saint. Look at you, helping people, making a difference. But then you find out someone else donated $1,000. Do you think, wow, they're so generous? No. You think they're probably just doing it for tax breaks, or they're showing off, or they can afford it. It doesn't count. You find a way to dismiss their good deed while elevating your own. Your $50 came from the heart. Their $1,000 is suspicious. That's self-righteous bias. Or think about environmentalism. You recycle, so you're doing your part. You're one of the good ones. But then you drive everywhere, eat meat every day, buy fast fashion, and use single-use plastics constantly. Do you feel bad about that? Not really, because you recycle, so you're good. But someone who doesn't recycle? They're killing the planet. You judge them harshly for the one thing they don't do while ignoring all the things you don't do. This bias shows up in politics too. Your side is fighting for what's right. The other side is evil. Your side makes mistakes because they're human. The other side makes mistakes because they're corrupt. When your side does something questionable, you explain it away. When the other side does the same thing, it's proof they're terrible. You're not being objective. You're just being self-righteous. Here's the thing. Self-righteous bias doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a normal person. Everyone does this. But that doesn't make it okay. Because this bias prevents growth. If you can't see your own flaws, you can't fix them. If you think you're already morally superior, you have no reason to improve. You just coast along, judging everyone else while never holding yourself to the same standards. And it makes you insufferable. Because nobody likes someone who thinks they're better than everyone else. Even if you don't say it out loud, people can feel it. They can tell you're judging them. They can tell you think you're the good guy and they're the bad guy. And it pushes them away. So how do you fight self-righteous bias? How do you stop thinking you're morally better than you are? First, you need to flip the script. When you judge someone for their actions, stop and ask yourself if you've ever done something similar. Be honest. Really think about it. Most of the time, you have. You just rationalized it for yourself, but you're not doing the same for them. Start giving other people the same benefit of the doubt you give yourself. Second, judge yourself by your actions, not your intentions. Your intentions don't matter if your actions hurt someone. Stop excusing your behavior because you meant well. Start looking at the actual impact of what you do, the same way you look at other people's impact. Third, admit your flaws, real ones. Not the humble brag flaws like, I care too much. Admit that you're selfish sometimes, that you're lazy sometimes, that you're a hypocrite sometimes, because you are. Everyone is. And pretending you're not just makes the bias worse. Fourth, stop keeping score. In relationships, at work, in life, stop comparing your good deeds to other people's. Stop dismissing their efforts while inflating your own. Just focus on being a decent person without needing to be better than everyone else. And, finally, listen when people call you out. This is the hardest one. Because when someone tells you that you hurt them or that you messed up, your first instinct is to defend yourself, to explain why you're not actually wrong. But that's self-righteous bias talking. Sometimes you are wrong. Sometimes you do hurt people. And if you can't accept that, you'll never grow. Look, self-righteous bias is one of those things that's easy to see in other people and impossible to see in yourself. You can watch someone else be a hypocrite and think, wow, they have no self-awareness. But when you're the hypocrite, it's invisible. Your brain protects you from seeing it because admitting you're not as good as you think would hurt. But here's the truth. You're not as good as you think. And that's okay. Nobody is. We're all flawed. We're all hypocrites sometimes. We all mess up and hurt people and do things we're not proud of. The difference between a self-righteous person and a self-aware person isn't that one is better. It's that one is honest about it. So next time you catch yourself judging someone, ask yourself if you've ever done the same thing. And if the answer is yes, maybe cut them some slack. Because if you want people to give you grace when you mess up, you need to give them grace too. That's not moral relativism. That's just fairness. And if you can start seeing yourself clearly, flaws and all, you might actually become the person you already think you are. If this made you realize you're not as good as you thought, hit subscribe.